Hey, badass business owners, do you ever feel as if nothing you do today is really making a difference in making your sales much stronger for this quarter that you're in, or your profits being better? Like you feel like it was already written in stone? Well, believe it or not, most of it actually is. Because you see, what's happening is you're reaping the rewards today for what it is that you put in place last quarter, the quarter before, or any building blocks you did prior to that. And honestly, in the moment, the only thing that you can impact is what's coming up, what's going to happen. What happens is a lot of times people will go, oh my God, I'm going to miss my numbers for this quarter. What am I supposed to do? And what they do is they start making all these rash decisions to try to get more sales. Now, some of it is absolutely good. I mean, running these flash sales, running these last minute promos, anything that you can do, calling up customers and saying, hey, I got an opening this week. Can I get you in? Or I got an opening next week. Can I get you in? All that is really good and it will impact today. But you see, what you want to do is you want to be better than that. What you want to do is you want to do what like the Jeff Bezos of the world do. And the other day, for example, I was listening to a podcast episode where it was just a compilation of different interviews that he's done. And one of the things that he said really struck home because it is so true when it comes to our business numbers. You see, he is a nerd and he's a math nerd and he loves numbers and he uses numbers to run his business. And honestly, it works. He's one of the richest men in the world. So we should listen to a little bit of his business advice. But it's something that really lines up with what I preach all the time. And that is this. You see, you really need to always be executing today, but planning for tomorrow. You need to be using your business numbers to say, how can I have a great next quarter? How can I have a better second half? How can I impact next year, next month, the future? All right. That's really what your business numbers are helping you with, because they're in the past, they're things that you've already done. And you can look at those numbers and you can say, these are the changes that I could be making using the information in the data. Because when you don't plan ahead, what happens is you execute on a plan that was already put in place. And when you have to struggle at the last minute, or let's say you're not hitting your goals for the month, you start scrambling and trying to say, oh, I wish I would have done this. Oh, I wish I could have done this. Oh, now I got a discount. Now I got to run a special. Now I got to get on the phone and start calling people. A lot of times what causes that is because you didn't have a plan in place that you were trying to execute. And I want you to start looking at your business and saying, do I have a plan for the next month? Do I have a plan for the next quarter? Or am I constantly struggling and trying to make this month work? I find that all the time when I'm sitting down talking with people. For example, when I sit down and we're looking at the numbers and I'm like, okay, great. Right now it's the beginning of April. So if I ask somebody, what's your plans for April? They're like, well, we're going to get our stuff. We're going to know what we're going to do. And I'm like, okay, what's your goal for the month? They start struggling, or they don't have an answer, or they give me puppy dog look, like, don't yell at me, please, stuff like that. And the reality is, April should already be in the bag. April should be something like where you go, oh, the goal is to hit $25,000. We want to put 20% to the bottom line, whatever the case may be. Where the conversation should be happening is we're executing the plan that we made for April, and this is what it is. And by the way, we're working on May, or we're working on next quarter. And based off of what my projections are showing, we've been running a 20% comp. We think we can run another 20% comp in the future. See how that's a little bit different? It's using the numbers to predict and plan for the future. The problem is so many people are living in the today. And unfortunately, even living in today, there was no plan in place, so they still don't even know what it is that they're trying to execute. You have to always be one step ahead of your business. You have to be able to say, hey, I'm going to use the information from the past to make a difference going forward. And that could be, this is the amount of money I'm doing year over year. This is how much money I do during these particular months. These are the items that sold really well. These are the specials that we had that did really well. These are the things we did that went horribly wrong. These are the items that don't sell. These are the products we need to get out of and stop pushing. And these are the things that we need to do. Knowing your business numbers is one thing. Using the business numbers is another. And our first goal is to get you to know your business numbers, because honestly, where you make the money, where you make the actual profit, is when you execute plans using those business numbers, is putting those numbers to work for you so you can make more money. Now, hopefully this doesn't feel as if I'm jumping around on you, because that is not what I'm hoping to do. My main goal is to give you a different mindset than the one that you have today. Today, you are executing yesterday's plan. Right now, you need to be creating tomorrow's plan. You need to be using those numbers to really plan out what it is that you're going to accomplish, what you're going to do. What are those categories? What are those numbers you're trying to hit? I'm not trying to turn you into a math nerd. You could have it on a piece of paper in your pocket. I'm not even asking you to memorize it because you can have it on that piece of paper in the pocket. All I'm saying is there has to be a plan. There has to be a target, something you're achieving, something that's your goal, something that you're going towards versus just executing in the now. And way too many business owners are executing in the now and letting it just fall into place. If I was to say, hey, what are you trying to accomplish every single week? How much in sales? A lot of times what's happening is people will give this answer. Maybe this is you. Is, well, I know I need to do about $5,000 every week and I should be good. I should be able to hit my numbers. Okay, are you hitting your numbers or are you hitting the amount of money you want to put in your pocket? And that's okay with you because as long as you do that, you're running a good business. Well, for most of those people, they're not necessarily running a good business because what they're putting in their pocket is what they need to make as them the employee, not to turn the business into something more profitable. And that's part of the challenge, right? Because a lot of times we're walking around saying, what do I need to live comfortably? And that's an employee wage because really what you need to do is say, how can I live comfortably and have a very profitable business? You want to have both because when you signed up to be a business owner, I'm going to assume you had the goal in mind to make that a very successful business. I don't think most of you had in mind, especially if you're listening to a podcast or you're learning other ways to be a better business person. I'm pretty darn sure you signed up for more than just a job and creating yourself a good paying job. Yeah, that might work for some people and I'm not knocking them. If your goal is to have a business that pays you a really good living as an employee, and that way you don't have a boss and you can set your own schedule and all that goes, hey, more power to you. I'm going to help you just as much as I'm going to help the other person. But ultimately, what I find is most people, their mission and their goal is to not only earn a great living, but to build a legacy, to build a business that makes even more money, that allows them to have bigger and better goals and dreams. So things that they can do to help pay for their kids' college or to buy that house that they've always wanted. Whatever the case may be, the goal is something bigger. But here's the problem. You're never going to get to that bigger if you don't start using the numbers to your advantage, that you don't just start saying, hey, how can I take this business and how can I use yesterday's information to make this business even better? So I'm going to go ahead and get off of my soapbox. But what I really want you to do is I want you to sit back and ask yourself, how am I running this business? Am I running it by the seat of my pants or am I somewhere in the middle? I've been looking at my numbers. I'm getting better at it, but yeah, I'm still living in the moment. I'm really not planning out next month, next quarter, next year. And what do you need to do in order to make that mind shift? So that way today is about executing yesterday's plan. And how am I setting up my plan for the next month or two? Hopefully this is all making sense. I just wanted to kind of touch on it because like I said, I was listening to that episode and it really got my gears going because I think it's so true. So many of us are dealing with the today versus saying, hey, what's my plan coming up? And a plan, by the way, is more than I want to make more money. Your plan is this is how much I want to do in sales. This is what I'm going to do in profit. And this is how I'm going to get there. Don't forget the roadmap. All right. You can't just know the destination. You have to know how you're going to get there. I live in Arizona. I can say I'm going to New York all I want. And there's many different ways for me to get to New York. Some are faster, like a straight direct flight. Some take longer. If I was to take the train, that's going to take longer. And some I can take the more scenic route and go all over the country because there's a lot of it between Arizona and New York. Will all three get me to New York? Yes, but some are going to get me there a lot quicker than others. And you have to ask yourself when you're looking at your goals and you're looking at your numbers, are you taking the scenic route or are you taking the direct route? Are you putting in a plan in place that will allow you to get to there quicker and faster? All right, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, so it is time for me to get out of here. And I hope this little nugget of information is going to help you run a much better business. So get out there and put your plan in place and start executing the plan. I'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye for now.